Hello everybody, welcome back to my second channel. Today we're going to be talking about procrastination, and this is something I've been talking about on the Mind Formula Instagram a lot recently. If you want to go follow us on the Mind Formula. We're currently going through a big rebrand over the next couple of months, and sign up to the newsletter because you're going to see very shortly what we have coming in December. It's going to open November 1st. It's going to change so many lives. I'm so excited. So make sure you go follow us for updates. We're talking about procrastination. You might be thinking the answer to procrastination is simply more discipline. And in some cases it is, because maybe you're actually incredibly weak-minded. You have a low attention span because you spend all your time scrolling on your phone. So you can't even sit in front of the computer. But usually that's not the case. Let's talk about this very briefly. Yes, you need discipline in those cases because your brain will not allow you to concentrate. And let me tell you, you need to enter a state of deep work. Imagine every time before you work, say, I'm gonna allocate 1 hour to this. Envision you're literally in like a black box or something. Now imagine every single time you check your phone, you scroll, you get distracted, you get up from your table, you're piercing a hole through this black box. And eventually you pierce so many holes, all the light is coming through, you're no longer going to be in this zone of deep work. So it becomes very hard for you then to re-enter this state. And your brain also knows, okay, we're not actually going to be doing any work right now because my mind is elsewhere, my mind is focusing on something else. This is what has really helped me as somebody who used to be like a chronic procrastinator. You need to enter into this zone of deep focus. Make sure you have a ritual before you start to do your work. Envision the black box around you and do not poke any holes. Okay, that is the first part. The second part is you probably procrastinate because you're afraid. You're afraid. Why is it that most people have not started that hobby they really want to do, have not started that business that they really wanted to try? Because it is better to be in a dream state of anticipation and waiting, even if it puts you in a state of anxiety, versus getting started. Because when you get started, you can't be in a dream state of what if it works out, because every day you might be met with failure. You might start and realize, well, I'm not good at this. I'm not as good at this as I thought. You might start to not get the results you hoped for. Or you might succeed. And we talk about the fear of success a little bit later in this video. And the solution to this is you need to try to de-pedestal your goals so that you can actually get started. Let's talk about my fashion brand, for example. I've talked about this a lot. I have always wanted a fashion brand my whole life, and I knew I would have it. However, when I started, I had a lot of momentum. In between me jumping between factories because things weren't working, my momentum slowed down. And you know what? I started to procrastinate. If the samples were late, I didn't care. In fact, when I received my first sample, I delayed opening that package. Why? Because I had pedestaled this goal so much. It has to work, it has to work. That I was scared to find out what was in that first sample box. Because if the samples were shit, oh, well, now I'm gonna have to spend like thousands of more dollars. Now I'm gonna have to spend even more time. And then your fears start to creep in. Well, what if I don't make it? What if it doesn't work? What if the samples don't look good? What if I have to start from the beginning? And then, when I got a good round of samples, you know what came in? The fear of success. Oh my gosh, now I actually need to stop dreaming. Now I actually have to go book a photographer, go build this business. Once I start, I can't stop. I have to do this forever and ever and ever. It's not even a huge ROI. All of these like little thoughts start to creep in. If you feel like you are so deep in the trenches of your mind that even everything that I'm telling you in this video, you feel like you can't work through it, perhaps you need external help. Perhaps you need a therapist. As I say, therapy is a temporary investment. You don't have to do it forever. It's like 1 to 3 months, which is going to radically change your life forever. So thank you to today's paid partner, BetterHelp, for partnering with me. A therapist will also be able to help you work through your procrastination, your fears, because As I said, it can go a lot deeper than just, well, I'm afraid of failing, I'm afraid of success. It can be tied to your identity. It can be tied to what your parents have told you. It can be literally ancestral. So a therapist can really help you work through this. So why don't you start with BetterHelp? BetterHelp is on a mission to making starting therapy more easy and accessible. It's completely online. It's very easy to sign up. All you need to do is fill out an application, and usually within a couple of days, they will have paired you with the therapist that is right for you. Now, if you don't think this therapist is right, as I say, therapy is like dating. Your first therapist is likely not going to be right for you. You can change free of charge with BetterHelp. If you're going to in-person therapy, you need to go to your doctor, get a new referral, drive to the new clinic, see if that therapist is right for you, and it's very costly, it's time consuming. With BetterHelp, you can then just request a new therapist, scroll through their profiles, and pick one who you think will be good for you. So with over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 star rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform that you can trust. So go to my link right here to get 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp. Now I'm using an example of me, but you can probably relate to this at home. This is what your brain does. Your brain will eventually sabotage you because the fear of failure and the fear of success is something that you cannot hold. You are avoidant with your goals because you are avoiding failure. Now for the fear of success, you can't hold that success in your body. Your procrastination can actually tell you how badly you even want it. I realized for me that brand was something I probably didn't want even that badly. I had other pressing goals that I needed to work on at that point in time, especially because this process was going on for so bloody long. I had to work on other things, so I put it on the back burner. And for my other goals, I went for it much faster, given there were a couple of barriers that needed to be broken. Because again, what if I fail? What if I succeed? You go to, what if I fail? What if I succeed? Guys, I really encourage you to look at your goals and think about what is the real reason why I'm procrastinating. For example, if you were given 1 month, life or death situation, you needed to make X amount of money to support your family. Otherwise, in 1 month, let's say that all, hypothetically, they're gonna die, okay? Or they'll be taken away from you. I don't think you're gonna procrastinate. I think even if your nervous system's like, oh, we're scared, we're in unfamiliar territory, we need to go to sleep right now, you're gonna do everything to snap out of it and to go do the work. Now that isn't discipline. That is because you're literally in like a life or death situation. You have no choice. You don't even have time to think about what if I fail. There is no option to fail. You have to succeed in a situation like that. So you have it in you, but you need to almost get yourself into the state where I have no choice. I have no option to fail. Failure is not even an option. So in this situation, yes, we are pedestaling the goal high, but you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere else to go. You can only achieve that. That's it. You have no other option. Now, if you have a bunch of other goals and you pedestal this one, like often what you'll see is people work a 9-to-5 job and then they might have a side hustle of like painting. They want to become like a successful painter. This goal is pedestaled because they're like, if I can make it out of my 9-to-5 through this side hustle, then I won't have to work anymore. But they have a backup option. There are still other options. So it's up to you to break down these barriers. I can't tell you because I don't know what situation you're in. When I was younger, not life or death, but you know, urgent situations where I needed money, there was no procrastination. There was no procrastination because I had no reason to fail. I had no choice but to succeed. Me now, for example, with the brand, oh, I actually can fail. I can stop this if I want to because I have so many other things that I have to work on. How do we de-pedestal a goal? You need to be realistic with yourself and almost fight your brain, because your brain is going to tell you, if you don't succeed at this, there is no other option for you to make it out of the trenches. You are a failure. You are not a good artist if you don't succeed at this. We need to workshop this, and I'm going to leave a link in the description with a worksheet you can do. But this is literally what I do. So first of all, you say, what is the situation? We're going to use the artist situation. I'm afraid to start painting and selling my art because if it doesn't sell, I'm going to feel like I'm never going to make it out of my 9-to-5. I'm going to feel like I failed as an artist. I feel like I'm a bad artist. My parents told me growing up I'm not a good artist. I was the only one who believed in myself. We're going a little deeper here. and then everyone's going to be right and I'm going to be wrong, and this is my biggest fear. So actually it's a threat to self, it's a threat to identity. It's not just isolated to one issue. You're trying to protect yourself in more ways than one. 2, you might say, I prefer to live in a dream state because in my dreams, I make it out of the trenches, I am a successful artist, everyone loves my work, and I like to live in this dream state because it gives me dopamine. So if I then put in the real work, I'm going to find out the truth. Is my dream state real or is it not real? And more often than not, we fail before we succeed. And most people don't break past the failure stage because they don't have grit, they don't have perseverance, and they don't have this emotional stamina needed to continue. Write out what the actual reality is. The actual reality, you might say, is I am a good artist. I believe I'm a good artist. There are so many different types of art in the world. So even if so-and-so doesn't buy my paintings for a while, there is going to be someone in the world who does. And you might say, like, look at this person who painted a photo of a red box and it sold for 30 million. I don't know. And that's evidence. That's evidence I'm still a good artist. That's evidence someone will like my art because someone in the world bought this painting that I think is silly for 30 million. You might say, my parents' opinions are not relevant to me. They are not a threat to me anymore because I'm a self-sufficient adult. You might say, even if my side hustle doesn't really work out, I still will succeed because I don't need this money urgently. I currently have a stable job and it's something that I do just to make me happy. And then 4, you need to remind yourself that it is not a be-all and all situation. You're still going to be safe even if it fails. It's literally just those 2 steps. We need to break it down in the brain. Once we put it onto paper and you realize the reality of the situation, you realize it's not actually that serious. We can even workshop the fear of success. Let's say I fear that I'm going to be a very successful artist. Number 1, I'm afraid that if I succeed with my art, I will have to leave my job. I've been at this job for 30 years. I'm very comfortable in my job. I know nothing but doing this job. So if I become a successful artist, I don't even know what I'm going to do with all my free time. I don't know how people are going to treat me differently. I don't know how my family will react. I don't even know how taxes work because I've never made above a certain amount of money. We'll become so successful and be commissioned so much that I might not even have time to spend with my kids. It can go on and on and on. Reality of the situation. I can adapt. Even though I've been at that job for 30 years, I can adapt. I've adapted before and I will adapt again. I'm a human. Humans, we adapt. 2, I'm going to be safe. More money is not a bad thing. I can then use my money to hire tax professionals and lawyers to help me tax optimize. By the way, I put this in here because that was a big fear of mine when I was younger. And then you realize it's not that serious. 3, I can spend more time with my kids because more money, more freedom. 4, I can turn down commission projects. I don't have to say yes to everything. 5, I'm going to be safe still. Even if everything works out or even if everything fails, I'm going to be safe. And that is how you get over procrastination and the fear of failure and the fear of success. This might be one of my best videos yet, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and I would love to have you on my channel. Don't forget to go follow the Mind Formula, sign up for our newsletter to see what is coming soon. I love you guys. I love you guys. Ich liebe dich. Tschüss.